Hi everyone, welcome back to the US CPA classes for Financial Accounting and Reporting exam. In this video, I'll be walking you through in detail about conceptual framework for business entity. This is part 1. Here we'll be covering conceptual framework, standard setting of business entity. So let's dive into to understand more in detail about conceptual framework for business entities.
We are jumping into it. Conceptual framework and standard setting. So what is conceptual framework for any financial statement? Any idea?
So
Any thought?
framework basically
Yeah, Shiva?
So जिसके बेसिस पे स्टैंडर्ड्स बनते हैं
No.
Sir, I think conceptual framework means basically just basis पे we are performing the accounting. Underlying, matlab like GAAP is a US GAAP is a conceptual framework. IFRS is a conceptual framework.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Basically standards read with guidelines and regulations या कुछ भी. That is conceptual framework.
Yeah, very true. So conceptual framework is a set of framework basis which you prepare the financial statement for the reporting purpose. It can be US GAAP, it can be IFRS, it can be IND-AS, it can be Indian GAAP, or it can be for any other country generally accepted accounting principle. Right? That is called conceptual framework. Second topic here is standard setting. Right? Who is the authority who set the standard? So that is called standard setting authority. We'll be discussing that. So first one is in this there are 4 topics which we'll be studying. First one is conceptual framework for business entity, and then we'll discuss conceptual framework for non-business entity. Right? Once we are done with the conceptual framework, then we go back and look at the standard setting process by the FASB for the business entity and for the non-business entity. Right? So first one is conceptual framework for business entity. So what is the objective of framing making a conceptual framework? The objective is to provide information that is useful to present to the potential shareholders, lenders, creditor in their capacity as the capital provider. Basically, if you recall, like what you have studied in your college days or school days, or maybe in your professional education, you might be remember like we make the financial statement for the user of the financial statement. And who are the primary user or key user of the financial statement? Are the shareholders, are the lenders, are the bankers, are the creditors, or sometimes it can be employee also. Right? So the whole objective of conceptual framework is to provide the information that is useful for the user of the financial statement. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
Now, to make those conceptual framework, there are certain qualitative and quantitative characteristics that you need to keep in mind. The first one is qualitative characteristics. First one in this is fundamental quality, which include relevance, faithful representation, right? So what do you mean by relevance? Qualitative characteristics of making a conceptual framework include relevance and faithful representation. So what do you mean by relevance? Any idea?
Relevant means like
usefulness मेरे लिए कैसे useful है
helpful, कैसे helpful हो in order to take the decisions properly.
So basically relevance means कि जो भी information we are providing in our financial statements, that is actually relevant. कोई बेकार की information जो मतलब useful ही नहीं है investors के लिए या lenders के लिए, वो information ना हो financials में. Only relevant and useful information.
Like you all are CPAs, like now you understand, like how to look at financial statements. So we have gone through many a time 10K and 10Q also, right? So for example, you are investor in, let's say, in any mid-size or big company. Like, as an investor, what all things you will look for in any company? Will you be, let's say, like, please tell me any name of the company whose investor you would love to be. Amazon, Google.
Yes, sir.
Sir.
Okay, so let's assume you are a shareholder of
Yes.
Amazon, right? And now you have already, let's assume you have, let's say, 5% shareholding in the Amazon company, and you're a big man. Now, in the financial statement, what all things as an investor you'll be interested looking at?
Sir, first of all, I would look into कि भाई region wise या country wise कितना revenue है,
Mm-hmm.
कहाँ पे सबसे ज्यादा revenue और कहाँ पे इनके सबसे ज्यादा expenses हो रहे हैं.
Mm-hmm.
सेल्स कहाँ पे है, वो तो रेवेन्यू ही हो गया. मैं तो यही देखना चाहूंगा. बाकी इनका लोन कितना है या नॉन करंट डेट्स कितने हैं एज अगेंस्ट देयर एबिलिटी टू पे ऑफ द डेट्स. मैं ये जरूर देखूंगा.
Mm-hmm. Akash, sorry, Ayush, Shivam, Kashish.
सर लोन में वैसे डेट इक्विटी रेशियो वैसे उसने कवर कर दिया आकाश ने. सर ईपीएस ईयर ओवर ईयर कितना जा रहा है,
Mm-hmm.
ये सारे पैरामीटर्स. और बाकी सर आई मीन बहुत डेट है, लेकिन खैर वो भी उसमें आ गया. सर इतना ही अभी समझ में आया, मतलब जो आज तक बैलेंस शीट्स देखी हैं. अलग बात, हाँ एक चीज और रहती है सर, कितने कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स हैं फ्यूचर में जो वो करने वाले हैं, फ्यूचर प्रोस्पेक्ट्स हैं जो उनके नोट्स में दिए गए हैं. व्हाट आर द थिंग्स विच आर अबाउट टू हैपन, कौन से कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स उनको मिल सकते हैं. ये केस सर मतलब अभी क्योंकि अडानी वाला सागा चला था, उसमें मैं देखता था, थोड़ा बहुत मैं पढ़ता था उस बारे में. तो उनको पहले से ये रहता था कि गवर्नमेंट विल मोल्ड दीज कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स. अगेन आई एम नॉट गोइंग इनटू एनी पॉलिटिकल कंट्रोवर्सी एंड ऑल, जस्ट दैट कि मतलब उनकी बैलेंस शीट से समझ में आता था, उनकी फाइलिंग से समझ में आता था. इंडिया के केस में, यूएस के केस में मुझे नहीं पता यूएस कंपनीज में कैसा होता है, बट कुछ उनके बारे में पता चल सकता है ना कि दीज थिंग्स आर गोइंग टू कम इन फ्यूचर. ये सारी
Yeah.
चीजें भी देखते हैं.
Yeah. So, for example, now let's assume you are investor in a startup, right? Any small startup in which you have invested, let's say, uh, maybe any startup which you are aware of, in which you will be interested in investing. Let's assume any company, maybe any company from Shark Tank, you might be interested in investing. Let's assume there is a company which came in Shark Tank who is in the manufacturing of electric vehicles, right? So they have done their prototype, they have done their market validation, and now they are looking for raising money. And you guys have invested in that company. Let's assume you all three of you have taken 10% share in that company, and you have invested, let's say, 3 crore rupees, or maybe let's say $100,000 each you have invested. And now that company is doing like go to market strategy and started making the sales, and the commercial production have started. So in that kind of company, what all things, what all information you feel is relevant for you, or what all information as an investor you will look for? Yeah, Kashish, do you see Shark Tank?
ये सर एक तो फ्यूचर प्रोस्पेक्ट देखेंगे कि कितने ऑर्डर्स उनको रिसीव हो रहे हैं.
Mm-hmm.
मतलब वहाँ उस एरिया की सर कितनी कैपेसिटी है, मतलब कितने वो
Mm-hmm.
सेल कर पाएंगे पर्टिकुलर एरिया वाइज.
Mm-hmm.
एंड सर कितनी डिमांड है प्रोडक्ट की.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
एंड
Shivam, Akash, Ayush, what all things you will look for? For example, if you have to invest in any startup, what all things you will look for?
सर ईयर
So एक
ईयर
मोस्ट कॉमन चीज जो मतलब हर इन्वेस्टर देखता है. एनीवे आकाश, यू कैन कंटिन्यू, नो वरीज.
Sorry, Shivam, your voice is cracking.
एक सेकंड सर.
सर ईयर ऑन ईयर ग्रोथ इन सेल्स,
Mm-hmm.
profit, and मार्जिन्स में कितना चेंज है, क्या कैसे है, मार्केटिंग एक्सपेंसेस कितने कर रहे हैं, करंट इन्वेस्टर्स अगर कोई है तो हु आर दे की, और उन्होंने कितनी वैल्यूएशन पे करा है इन्वेस्ट, एंड पर मतलब अगर कोई प्रोडक्ट बेच रहे हैं तो मतलब फिजिकल गुड टाइप, तो उसमें उस हर प्रोडक्ट की मैन्युफैक्चरिंग कॉस्ट कितनी है, एंड देयर नेट प्रॉफिट एंड ग्रॉस प्रॉफिट ऑन दैट, डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन एक्सपेंसेस कितने हैं, तो यही सब मतलब एवरीथिंग रिलेटेड टू बिजनेस, सब कुछ ही देखेंगे कि भाई इन दी एंड हम अगर इसमें इन्वेस्ट कर रहे हैं, सो आर वी गोइंग टू गेन एनीथिंग फ्रॉम दिस और नॉट, सो ये ऑब्जेक्टिव रहता है।
Yeah.
तो ओनरशिप स्ट्रक्चर भी बहुत बार देखना पड़ता है, मतलब सपोज कौन कौन उसमें इन्वेस्ट कर चुका है, कौन कौन पार्टनर है। ऐसा तो नहीं है कोई लीगल डिस्प्यूट है, बहुत बार मतलब जितने भी चार्ज रहते हैं दे ऑलवेज पॉइंट आउट टू दैट कि कितने लोगों ने पहले ऑलरेडी इन्वेस्टेड है, कितना इसकी इक्विटी कितनी पहले से है, उस
Equity
हिसाब से भी
structure
ओनरशिप
basically.
स्ट्रक्चर देखना पड़ता है। एग्जैक्टली।
Yeah, Kashish, what's your thought?
सर यही देखना पड़ेगा कि इक्विटी कितने मतलब कैसे शेयर हो जाएगा, और सर मतलब फ्यूचर प्रोस्पेक्ट्स क्या है उनके, एंड सर
Right.
किस वैल्यूएशन पे सर प्रीवियसली उन्होंने रिसीव करा था
Right.
अमाउंट।
So now you have given a thought to two different spectrum. One is like large size accelerated company like Amazon. Right? When you invest in large size accelerated company, your perspective as an investor is different. And when you think of investing in a startup, your perspective is slightly different. Yes, am I right?
यस सर।
यस सर, क्योंकि एक
Right.
ऑलरेडी मैच्योर और एक स्टार्टअप की।
Right. For example, there's a company like Amazon. Amazon have, let's say, 1,000 vice president. Let's say they have 10,000 senior manager, and let's say they have 30,000 managers, right? And now, out of those, let's say 100 vice president have during the year moved to another organization, and new 100 vice president have joined. Is that information relevant for you as an investor of Amazon? Or it's a general information?
यस सर।
Is it relevant or is it general?
सर रेलेवेंट है,
Why it's relevant?
क्योंकि सर बेसिकली उसमें रीजन वी हैव टू फाइंड आउट लाइक व्हाई दे आर मूविंग आउट फ्रॉम द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, लाइक 100 VPs इज नॉट अ स्मॉल नंबर सर।
No, but out of 1,000 across the globe, 10% attrition is normal, isn't it?
सर लेकिन हायर मैनेजमेंट है ना, तो उसके लिए थोड़ा कंसर्न है।
हाँ सर, इतना
Huh? Shivam, you're saying something?
तो ये थोड़ा सब्जेक्टिव हो गया एक्चुअली।
बट ये नॉर्मल है, इतना तो होता
सो
ही
ये एक्चुअली जो बीपी नाम आया उस वजह से थोड़ा सब्जेक्टिव हो गया ये मैटर, वरना नॉर्मल एम्प्लॉइज का अगर एट्रिशन होता वो भी 10% से नीचे होता तो शायद कोई भी इतना कंसर्न नहीं रखता ये बात है।
Let's assume you have 10,000 senior managers across the world, and out of which, let's say, 500 senior managers has moved out, and new 500 have joined. Is this information as an investor relevant for you?
नो सर, नो सर।
Huh? Shivam, Kashish?
नो सर,
But whereas on the other hand, there's a startup.
नो सर।
Whereas there's a startup in which there's one senior manager who is leading one segment, and the startup have only 4 segments, and that person have resigned. Will that information be relevant for you?
सर उस चीज में तो इम्पैक्ट करेगा ही करेगा, क्योंकि स्टार्टअप है और उसमें हेड काउंट भी वैसे लेस ही है सीनियर मैनेजर के। तो सर एक बंदा अगर ऑलरेडी इतने चीजें संभाल रहा है तो सर आई गेस इम्पैक्ट तो पड़ेगा ही पूरी कंपनी में।
Right, Akash, Shivam?
यस सर, अगर
Makes sense.
हाँ जी सर,
So you need to look at from
इट
the
विल
side.
इम्पैक्ट।
Yeah, you need to look at from the different lenses on the size of the organization, what is being relevant for you, and what matter to the investor or same thing matter to the lenders, creditors, as well as to other employees, right? So here the point is the relevance. What is relevance? The information which is helpful in making the decision whether I can do investment in this company or not, whether I can lend the money to this company or not, whether I should give the things on credit to the company or not, right? So what are the three components who derive whether the information or whether the company or whether you can say the financial statement information provided in financial statement are relevant or not? First one is predictive value. Predictive value means relevant information is used by investor to form their own expectation about the future. Right? For example, like have you heard about the term called market research?
Yes, sir.
Right? Nowadays, if you see the edtech company, they are in downturn. Right? You might be seeing like the Byju's crash or maybe some of the other edtech company crash.
Yes, sir.
Right? So now, like at this point of time, if you are an investor in a tech company, what is the preconceived notion in your mind?
ये तो these
सर
will
एक डाउन ट्रेंड है अभी हम इसको
Right?
लेकर
So that means you are expecting low revenue, low profit, and you'll focus more on the reduction of cost. Right? Yes or no?
right. Yes, sir.
यस
So
Yes,
that
sir.
is called predictive values. That means the investor, based on their understanding of the market, have certain expectation from the future outcome. That is called predictive value. Second is confirmatory value. Confirmatory value. For example, do you remember like here in Maruti plant back in 2010 or 11, there was a big strike.
Yes,
Have
sir.
you remember by any chance? So there was like fight against management and the labor union, and I think they have beaten like the CEO or CFO. I'm not sure, like some top management person also, and that strike went almost 6 to 9 months long, right? So it has impacted the overall manufacturing of Maruti. But like Maruti nowadays does not manufacture anything. They do only assembly, right? And they have so many ancillary units nearby the Maruti plant who provide supplies of material to Maruti, right? Some company might be making gearbox, some company might be making seats, some company might be making, you can say, handles and so on and so forth. And they all provide respective material to the Maruti so that Maruti can do assembly and sell the car, right? Hope you understand, like this is what it is.
Yes, sir.
So if there is a strike in Maruti and your company is selling more than 80% of their product to the Maruti only, then there would be impact on your business. Yes, no,
Yes, sir.
right? So here, for example, there is a strike in Maruti and you are, let's say, gearbox manufacturer, right? Have you heard about the company called ASK by any chance? They are like one of the biggest supplier of like Maruti for the gearbox, right? And they have pivot. Initially, they were supplying only to Maruti, but nowadays they supply to almost all the car manufacturing company because of the impact of that strike. Their business was almost about to shut, right? So they have pivoted themselves to the different organization, and now they are supplying to almost all the big car manufacturing company. But here the B point is confirmatory value. That means relevant information also help user confirm or correct prior expectation. That means if there is a strike in Maruti, it may impact your business if you are a wholesale supplier or if the majority of your supplies goes to Maruti. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
Third one
Yes,
is
sir.
materiality. What is materiality?
So
whether
basically,
the information is material to the financial statement or not. If the information is not material to the financial statement overall level, then it is not relevant, right? For example, if you remember, I said in Amazon there are 10,000 senior manager and there is a 5% attrition, right? And which is a journal attrition rate. So is that information that these 500 people have left the organization is relevant to the investor? The answer is no. But on the other side, if you see the startup, there is only one senior manager, right? And that person has left and he was managing the critical job. He was managing the critical segment. Then yes, it is a material information, right? Make sense?
Yes, sir.
So the qualitative characteristics, first one is relevance. For the relevance, we need to keep three things in mind: predictive value, confirmatory value, and whether the item is material to the financial statement as a whole or not. Second one is faithful representation. So faithful representation, what comes in your mind when you hear this word, faithful representation?
Sir, ethically representation of the data.
So, like whatever is being represented, is it correct or not?
Yes, absolutely right. Whatever is presented in the financial statement is actually exists or not, right? That is a faithful representation. In that, you need to consider three things. One is completeness, second is neutrality, and third is free from error. Completeness means the information which provided in the financial statement are complete, are related to that period or not. Have you, any of you have done audit by chance?
Sir, article shipment.
Article shipment, yes. Or any of you have prepared the financial statement?
Yes, article shipment.
Yes.
Okay, so when you are preparing the financial statement or when you are doing the audit of financial statement, you might be doing a procedure called cutoff procedure, right? At the year end, you'll be making sure whatever the entries related to the current year should be recorded in the current year. Whatever the entry and transaction related to future year should go in the future year. Same way, opening balance testing, right? That you also might be doing. Whatever is being related to the current year should come in the opening current year, and whatever is being related to previous year should go in the previous year financial year, right? That also a completeness procedure where you are ensuring that current year data is complete, right? I'm sure like most of you have heard bank reconciliation. Have you guys heard
Yes,
bank
sir.
reconciliation? Why we do bank reconciliation?
Yes.
Why we do bank reconciliation?
So, I mean, to reconcile, firstly, for our information, to reconcile those differences which are there in the actual balance versus the book balance. And now, I mean, for the apart from that, sir, what is the balance as per the apart from that, to ensure completeness as well, that is also I mean, a perspective that can.
So bank reconciliation is being done basically because there can be difference of entries, which has been recorded obviously in the financial ledgers, but it is not processed as per the bank or vice versa. And to just reconcile the items to match the bank balance with actually the ledger balance in our books, because that should obviously every time be matching. And if we are not doing reconciliation, we would not be able to, know what were the entries which we need to take care of and check in the future when they get realized, if it gets realized. So that's why we are preparing bank reconciliations to ensure the completeness of the balance that is in the ledger and the bank books.
Yeah, the whole objective is to ensure completeness of the accounting entry relating to bank which you have made. Is it complete or not, right? I know, like, have you heard about confirmation procedure? bank balance confirmation, account receivable confirmation. Have you heard
Yes, sir.
about these terms, right?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Why
sir.
we
Yes,
take
sir.
third-party confirmation?
So because external confirmation is always more reliable than an internal confirmation.
Mm-hmm.
That's why.
But what is
That's
the
why we.
objective of taking that
Exactly.
Yeah,
confirmation?
to check the complete to check whether the balance, which is suppose a debtor balance is 100 rupees, is existing in the books. Is it actually existing, or it's just being shown in the books? So we get that confirmation from the vendor for which that balance is pertaining to.
Mm-hmm.
Existence and completeness check करने के लिए.
Yeah. Kashish, Shivam.
Sir, in order to basically rely more on the external party, that
Hmm.
whether the balance is showing is correct or not.
But the whole objective is the completeness. What is
The external
representing?
parties,
Yeah, Shivam. Yeah, Shivam. Go ahead.
so external parties एक unbiased और independent view भी देंगे ना.
Hmm.
The
Yes.
external parties एक unbiased और independent view देंगे.
Yeah. So, for example, if you have taken any loan from the bank and you ask the confirmation, they give you what is the balance due in their books, right? And if the amount matches to your account, that means the information which you are presenting in the financial statement is complete. If you are showing less balance due than what bank has confirmed, that means you are missing out something. There may be possible that interest they have calculated due on the loan amount you might have not captured. That means your amount is which you are reflecting is not complete. So you need to make an adjustment entry for the same. Right? Second point is neutrality. A company cannot select information to favor one set of interest party over the another. So neutral behavior basically. So your financial statement should be neutral, not biased, right? For example, let's say, have you heard about the term called litigation claims and assessment?
Yes, sir.
Right? So in the litigation claim and assessment, as an auditor, what we take the neutral view. The financial statement should not reflect the biasness of the management, right? So that is the reason, if you remember, in the litigation claim and assessment, when we were studying like audit chapter, we said like third party confirmation. Third party confirmation means lawyer's confirmation we take, because we consider that lawyer might be an independent professional, and he or she is unbiased from the company influence, right? So accordingly we consider the information provided by the lawyer. Same way, if you remember, if you see, there is a company who has subsidiary, right? And the subsidiary has get into any litigation or maybe going for any dispute matter. So the parent company, when they are making their own financial statement, will the management be biased in taking up the decision? The answer is yes. First level it is, because it's a related party, there might be a possibility of biasness. But at the same time, as a top management or as an auditor, we need to make sure the decision which management has taken is in consultation with the independent professional body or is having a neutral position like an unbiased position, right? So whatever the information coming in financial statement should not be biased information, should be a neutral information. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Third is
Yes,
free
sir.
from error. Yeah, sure.
Yes,
Kashish,
sir.
sure.
Okay, you can continue. Continue.
Okay. Third is free from error. So free from error means like more accurate information are generally considered as more faithful information. So there may be possibility of typo error, right? So those typo errors can be avoided by taking up the multiple level review. So that can help in making the financial statement free from error. So the relevance and faithful representation are the two fundamental qualities or you can say characteristics for the financial statement. But how can you further enhance the quality of the financial statement? First one is comparability. Have you heard this term before? Comparability. Do you know what is comparability mean?
Yes, sir.
Basically, it's in order to compare with the other, competitors or companies.
Yeah, Shivam, Akash.
तो दो टाइप के comparisons हो सकते हैं दूसरी
Your voice is not clear, Shivam.
इंडस्ट्री के साथ भी तो दोनों टाइप के कंपैरिजन फैसिलिटेट होने चाहिए.
Yeah, Ayush, Akash.
Okay, sir. Is it audible now?
Yeah, better. Yeah, some internet issue, huh? Shivam.
Yes, sir. Internet issue है थोड़ा.
Am I audible to you comfortably?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You are audible.
Yeah, so comparability would be if you see like all the financial statement are comparable financial statement from current year to previous year. Right? At the same time, if the company they are using US GAAP, so they all are comparable with the other similar nature of company in the United States of America, right? When you compare with the international company, so then like international company might be following IFRS and you might be following US GAAP. So there would be a reconciliation required between US GAAP and IFRS to make it better comparable so that apple to apple comparison can be done. So comparability is about the information that is measured and reported in similar manner for different company is considered comparable information. So to enhance the quality of the financial statement, we need to make sure the information are comparable. Second is verifiability. Verifiability occurs when independent measures using the same method or similar obtain the similar result. So verifiability means like if you are doing a depreciation calculation, right? And let's say you have taken 10% straight line method of depreciation. So you can like at any point of time go back and calculate the depreciation, the result will be same. Right? Are you guys with me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Third is timeliness. Having information available to the decision maker before it loses its capacity to influence the decision. So why any information to be provided on time is very important, because the information is time barred, then you cannot do anything, right? For example, like let's assume petroleum price. Petroleum price in international market has gone down from $100 per barrel to $33 per barrel today. Right? So if this information comes to you after 2 days, when the prices has gone up to $120 per barrel compared to $33 per barrel. So will you be in a position to take any decision? Answer is no.
Sir.
Right?
Yes, sir.
So the information must be timely provided so that decision taker can take the decision accordingly. If the information is not timely, then that information is of no use. Right? It will just generate or create a pressure or frustration. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
Last one is understandability, the quality of the information that let reasonably informed user see the significance. So that is called understandability. These elements basically enhance the quality of the financial statement. Right? So these are certain characteristics which you need to keep in mind when you are preparing the financial statement. Right? Element of financial statement, you all know assets. Assets include both current assets, non-current assets. Non-current assets also include property, plant and equipment. Liability, you all know current liability and non-current liability. Equity, investment by owner, distribution to owner, comprehensive income, revenue, expenses, gain and loss. These all you all know, like in the financial statement. Assumption. What are the assumptions we keep in mind when we are preparing the financial statement? Right? You, like most of you, are working in the organization and you are in a management position. So you understand, like, you are making a financial statement based on certain key assumptions. So those key assumption is, one is economic entity, second is going concern, third is monetary unit, and fourth is periodicity. What is economic activity? Any idea? What is economic activity?
Economic activity, sir, is basically any profit making activity.
Yeah. So I'm sure you might, in your school days or college day, you might have heard the company is a separate legal entity, right? Hope you have heard this term.
Yes, sir.
Sir.
In a business study,
Yes, sir.
11th standard,
Yes,
right?
sir.
Yes.
So same
Yes, sir.
applies here. So economic entity means a separate legal entity, right? So what is a separate legal entity? That means, for example, you are a shareholder of the company, right? So your business, personal business, may be different than the company business. Whereas company in the eye of law is considered as a separate legal entity. Second is going concern. I'm sure you all might have heard this term, going concern, right? Any idea what is going concern is?
That the company will continue its business for a foreseeable.
For the upcoming, 12 months.
Yes. So the going
No
concern
intention
assumption.
to liquidate.
Sorry, Shivam, your voice is cracking. Say that again.
Sir, no intention to liquidate in the coming future, in the coming months, in the near
Yeah.
future, I should say.
Yeah, and that near future is 12 months or the operating cycle, whichever is higher, right? So going concern, so whenever you are making a financial statement, the basic assumption is going concern, that company is not going to close at least in next 12 months, right? If the going concern assumption fail, that means, like after 3 months, 6 months, 8 months, or 12 months, company is going for a liquidation. Then you make all the financial statement as per the liquidation financial statement. That means you are right now planning to sell the things, right? So then whole financial statement would be prepared in altogether different way. Third is monetary unit. Monetary unit is basically the money, right? Your functional currency in which you are denominating all your transactions as well as balances. Last one is periodicity. So the financial statement you are preparing is for the period. It can be monthly, it can be quarterly, it can be half yearly, or it can be annually, right? That is called periodicity for the period you are preparing the financial statement. So these are the key assumptions when you are preparing the financial statement. And now there are certain principles which you need to keep in mind. Principle is measurement, revenue recognition, expense recognition, and disclosure. So these are the 4 key principles which you need to keep in mind. Measurement. So have you heard this term before? Measurement. If you remember, any of you have done audit classes?
Yes, sir.
So what is
Yes, sir.
measurement, if you remember?
Sir, measurement is basically that all the transactions are correctly measured at basically the values जितनी होनी चाहिए and as per the accounting standard.
Yeah. For example, I am selling 10,000 unit which has a cost of $10 each at $15 each, right? So what will be the measurement for sale, inventory and costs? Are you getting my point?
Yes, sir.
So
Yes, sir.
So for example, I'm selling what? 10,000 unit, the cost of which is $10 each at $15 each. Unit 10,000, sales price how much? 15, and cost per unit is 10. So at what amount I'll be booking sales?
Unit 10,000, 15,000.
Right? And what will be the cost?
150,000, sorry. COGS will be 10,000 into 10, 1 lakh, 100,000.
Right? And what will be the AR balance?
150,000 जितने की सेल हुई है.
And what is the reduction from inventory?
100,000. 100,000, 1 lakh.
1 lakh.
Right? Is this all right?
Yes, sir.
And what is the profit?
50,000.
50,000. Right? So now coming back to this measurement and valuation. So for P&L item, it is called measurement. And for balance sheet item, it is called valuation. It's one of the same thing.
P&L.
Right?
Okay.
Right?
Sir.
So measurement is most commonly used. Measured are based on historical cost or fair value. That's an example. But measurement is basically at which you are valuing the transaction or measuring the transaction or valuing the balances. Right? Now these balances are being measured at historical cost or fair market value. Let's assume there is a provision for doubtful debt. Let's say $10,000. So what will be the fair value?
Sir, AR would be 150 minus 10, 140,000.
Right? And inventory, there would not be any change because it is already liquidated.
Right.
Right? So then if you come back here, the most commonly used measurement are historical cost and fair market value. Right? Make sense?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
Next is revenue recognition. Revenue recognition generally occur when realized or realizable and when earned. So what is the difference between realized or realizable? Any idea?
Realized तो
So
हो
when
गया
you
जब
have performed all the objectivity.
Sorry, say that again.
So with all the performance
performance
from your
obligations have
side,
been fulfilled.
Shivam, your voice is not
exactly,
clear.
it becomes realized.
अभी तो आवाज नहीं आ रही.
सर ये
Okay,
आयुष
so
भी बोल रहा है
I'll
बीच में.
reconnect.
दोनों सेम टाइम पे बोल रहे हैं.
हाँ आयुष
सर
बोलो.
हाँ सर मेरी आवाज आ रही है वैसे.
हाँ आ रही
Yes.
है.
अरे यार बड़ी देर से बोलने की कोशिश कर रहा हूँ कुछ समझ नहीं आ रहा. आवाज ही नहीं पहुंची आप तक.
You might be talking to yourself on mute. That's not our fault.
नहीं नहीं सर. तो सर बेसिकली रिलाइजेबल वही हो गया जब परफॉर्मेंस ऑब्लिगेशंस हमने जो फुलफिल कर ली है अपनी. तो हम रेवेन्यू रिकॉग्नाइज कर सकते हैं, तो वो
हम्म
रियलाइजेबल हो गया
हम्म
और रियलाइज्ड हो गया वो तो
नहीं,
और
बेसिकली
रियलाइजेबल हो गया।
अनबिल्ड
हाँ,
एआर रियलाइजेबल हो गया और जो
रियलाइजेबल
बिल्ड
हो
हो
गया,
गया
हाँ,
वो रियलाइज्ड हो गया।
मतलब उसको हमने बुक्स में रिकॉर्ड कर लिया एज रियलाइज्ड, जो
हम्म
कि वही हो गया।
हम्म Yeah,
हाँ,
so when you have already performed the obligation, that means amount is earned or realizable. When you have actually received the money, that means you have already collected, realized,
ओके
right? Expense recognition. Let the expense follow the revenue. Same way, like matching concept, which you might be studying from 11th standard, right?
Yes, sir.
So in the disclosure part, providing information that is of sufficient importance to influence the judgment and decision of an informed user, like financial statement, notes to accounts, supplementary information, all these things, right? Last thing is constraint. Constraint mean like cost, right? Cost can be one of the constraint. Cost of providing the information must be weighted against the benefit that can be derived from using it. So whenever you are, like if you all are working in some or the other company, right? If there is any change in process required, right? What company evaluate whether that change in process will give
More
positive cash flow, then that means the outcome of the change in process, benefit of the change in process would be more than the cost required to incur for changing that process. For example, we are a small organization, right? We are doing all the accounting on Tally, right? But everyone wants to move to SAP. So at this point of time, moving on to the SAP, which is more sophisticated, you can say accounting system, is it worth for me?
यस सर। सर मतलब कोई पॉइंट नहीं है, इतने लेवल की ट्रांजैक्शंस ही नहीं है आपकी।
Yes, that required so much sophisticated environment, right? So when you are doing any evaluation, so you need to consider cost as well. But cost should not only be the criteria to take the final decision. Cost can be one of the criteria to take the decision, but should never be the final criteria to take the decision, right?
यस सर।
Last one is industry practice. So industry practice, like there are various industry, for example, mining industry, which is different, or you can say oil and gas industry is different, life science industry is different, software industry is different, right? So there are certain guidance which is specific to the industry, right? Which may be like in line with the gap, or sometime it may not be in line with the gap, but you have flexibility to opt the industry practice if that is more beneficial and give more better picture to the user of the financial statement, right?
यस
Any
सर।
doubt?
नो
Shivam,
Yes, sir.
Ashish?
नो सर, क्लियर है।
No
सर मैं
है?
ये पूछ रहा था कि एक बार ऊपर सबसे टॉप पे जाओगे जहाँ से ये टॉपिक शुरू करा था, तो देखना चाह रहा हूँ कि क्या सब चल रहा है।
So, okay. Yeah, so we have started chapter 2. So
हाँ,
today we are targeting to cover 2.1, conceptual framework and standard setting. So far we have covered this conceptual framework for business entity,
ओके
2.1.1. So after this, we have few questions and then we take a break. And after break, we'll cover rest of the 3 topics, right? So this is what we have covered so far. Now
ये
let's do.
बेसिकली जो
हाँ,
हमने करा कि एक अकाउंटिंग बिजनेस एंटिटी के लिए कर रहे हैं, तो उसकी assumptions क्या होंगी और वो सब वी कवर्ड
yes,
कि प्रिंसिपल्स क्या है, बेसिकली अकाउंटिंग से रिलेटेड जो भी चीज हो सकती है, ऑब्जेक्टिव
yes,
क्या है, वो
yes,
सब कवर करा। ठीक है,
yes,
ओके,
yes.
वो सब